Tonight, we're not talking about buildings or infrastructure projects, but about billions of dollars that have suddenly stopped crossing the US-Canada border. This once fluid exchange of currency, vital for businesses on both sides, has slowed to a trickle. A financial wall has quietly risen, unseen yet powerfully effective, with Canadian shoppers keeping their money at home instead of spending it in American stores. The allure of cross-border shopping trips, once a weekend staple for many Canadians, has diminished significantly. This isn't a slow decline, it's not a gradual shift in consumer behavior, it's a dramatic, nationwide shift, a seismic event in the retail landscape that's reverberating across state lines. That's left US retailers and even President Trump scrambling for answers, searching for solutions to stem the bleeding. The sudden drop in revenue has triggered alarm bells in boardrooms and the halls of power alike. Border towns from Washington to New York are feeling the sting, their economies heavily reliant on Canadian spending now facing an uncertain future. As parking lots once packed with Canadian cars now sit empty, a stark visual representation of the economic downturn. The silence in these once bustling commercial hubs is deafening. Store owners report sharp drops in sales, some facing the prospect of closure as their customer base dwindles. And the economic impact is being felt at the highest levels, prompting urgent discussions and policy reviews. This isn't a government boycott, there are no official sanctions or trade restrictions at play. It's a grassroots movement, a subtle but powerful shift in consumer sentiment. A collective decision by Canadians to spend at home, supporting their own businesses and communities. Trade tensions, currency swings, and a surge in national pride have all played a role, creating a perfect storm of economic factors. The result? The numbers don't lie. A multi-billion-dollar hole in the US retail economy, a financial chasm that demands attention and action, and a new chapter in the relationship between two close neighbors, a relationship now facing unprecedented economic challenges. The question now, the burning question on everyone's mind: what happens when a nation quietly decides to keep its money at home? What are the long-term consequences of this shift in economic behavior? The answer is reshaping communities and economies on both sides of the border, forcing a re-evaluation of trade dynamics and cross-border relationships. The ripple effects are only beginning to be understood. For decades, cross-border shopping was a Canadian tradition, a family outing for bargains and brands unavailable at home. A strong Canadian dollar once made US trips irresistible, with savings on everything from gas to designer clothes. US retailers catered to Canadians, advertising in Canadian media and accepting their currency. But now that tradition is fading fast. The reasons go beyond economics, politics, pride, and principle have entered the equation. Crossing the border to shop is no longer just about deals, it's become a statement about national identity. Statistics show millions fewer trips south and billions of dollars staying in Canada. Domestic retailers are reaping the benefits while US border towns face empty stores and uncertainty. The cross-border pilgrimage isn't dead, but it's a shadow of its former self. Will it ever recover? That's the question on everyone's mind. The answer may depend on more than just the price of jeans. The retreat of Canadian shoppers from US border towns is becoming increasingly noticeable. Once bustling with activity, these areas are now seeing a significant decline in foot traffic. This shift isn't just a fleeting trend, it's driven by a perfect storm of economic forces, creating a challenging environment for cross-border shopping. These forces have converged to make shopping in the US less appealing for Canadians. At the heart of this change is a weaker Canadian dollar. This has effectively erased the savings that once made US shopping trips worthwhile. The exchange rate disparity has flipped the script, making those once attractive deals far less enticing. What used to be a bargain, a chance to snag deals and save money, is now a costly splurge thanks to unfavorable exchange rates that significantly inflate the final price. The perceived savings have vanished, replaced by the reality of higher expenses. Add in new tariffs, retaliation for US trade policies, further complicating the situation. As a result, American goods are pricier than ever in Canada, diminishing their appeal to budget-conscious consumers. The cost of these goods has risen noticeably. Tariffs on everyday items like ketchup and coffee have fueled a Buy Canadian movement, encouraging consumers to support local businesses. This is turning shopping into a patriotic act, with consumers actively choosing Canadian products to bolster the national economy. Strict duty-free limits, and the risk of extra taxes at the border, add more hassle and expense, deterring even more potential cross-border shoppers. The result, the financial logic for cross-border shopping has collapsed, leaving many questioning the value of the trip. What was once a no-brainer is now a losing bet for most Canadians, making it a less attractive option than shopping locally. International politics and economics have reached right into the shopping cart, influencing everyday purchasing decisions. Money, like water, finds the path of least resistance, seeking the best value and convenience. And right now, that path leads Canadians to spend at home, supporting their own economy and local businesses. To truly understand the magnitude of this economic shift, we need to listen to the people who are living it, experiencing the changes firsthand, and adapting to a new reality. Their stories paint a vivid picture of the forces at play. Take Sarah, for example, a mother from Ontario. She used to regularly cross the border to shop in Buffalo, primarily for gas and groceries, seeking out better deals and lower prices. It was a routine part of her life. But now, she says, the savings just aren't there anymore. The exchange rate has changed, and frankly, it feels better to support our own local businesses and economy. Many Canadians echo her sentiments, expressing a similar mix of practical financial sense and a growing sense of economic patriotism, a desire to invest in their own country's prosperity. However, on the U.S. side of the border, retailers in towns like Plattsburgh, New York, which once thrived on Canadian shoppers, are now feeling the pinch and struggling to stay afloat. One store manager reports that weekend sales have plummeted, down nearly 40% compared to previous years, a significant and worrying decline. This is directly attributed to the sharp decrease in Canadian shoppers, resulting in fewer Canadian cars in the parking lot and, consequently, staff hours being cut to reduce operating costs. As one business owner poignantly puts it, we're caught in the middle of a political fight that we didn't start, and unfortunately, we're the ones paying the price for it. President Trump, seemingly surprised by the significant drop in cross-border shopping, chalks the issue up to fluctuations in currency exchange rates, but the disconnect between the official explanation and the reality on the ground is undeniably clear. For many Canadians, choosing to stay home and shop locally is more than just a financial decision. It's an empowering act, a quiet but powerful form of protest against policies they disagree with, and a welcome boost to their own national economy. Meanwhile, for U.S. retailers and border communities, it represents a crisis that feels largely beyond their control, a situation they are struggling to navigate. The voices and experiences on both sides of the border reveal a complex story that goes far beyond simple economics and monetary exchange. It's a story deeply intertwined with national identity, a sense of community, and the very real-world consequences and fallout of political decisions made at the highest levels. This conversation, this shift in behavior and perspective is happening everywhere you look, from casual exchanges in grocery store checkout lines to more in-depth discussions around family dinner tables. The fallout from this shift is shaking both countries. U.S. border towns face job losses, shrinking tax bases, and struggling local businesses. It's not just retailers. Gas stations, hotels, and restaurants are all feeling the pain. American manufacturers are losing Canadian customers, leading to cutbacks far from the border. Meanwhile, Canadian retailers are thriving, with billions staying in the country and boosting local jobs. But there's a downside. Less competition could mean higher prices and fewer choices for Canadian shoppers. Some U.S. products are now out of reach due to tariffs. The ripple effects are complex, creating winners and losers on both sides. This consumer shift is fundamentally reshaping the North American economic landscape. As border shopping fades with fewer Canadians crossing over, Canadians are increasingly turning to online shopping from the comfort of their homes. Sites like Amazon.com and Canadian Tire are experiencing a significant boom in sales, capturing dollars that once flowed south across the border. Shopping online within Canada now means no surprise duties upon delivery, faster and more reliable shipping, and transparent prices displayed in Canadian dollars. E-commerce platforms have really stepped up their game, offering an expanded range of choices and increasingly better deals. Social media is actively fueling the growing Buy Canadian movement, with shoppers enthusiastically sharing product links and actively supporting local brands. This digital shift is fostering a new sense of loyalty to Canadian retailers. U.S. companies are now actively trying to adapt to this changing landscape, but the sheer convenience and comfort of shopping at home is proving hard to beat. The digital border is now proving to be just as important as the physical one, and it's fundamentally changing the face of retail for good. Is this a passing trend or a permanent change? If the Canadian dollar rebounds or tariffs are lifted, some shoppers may return to old habits. But habits have changed. Canadians have discovered new stores and brands at home. The emotional impact of recent trade disputes has fueled a lasting sense of economic nationalism. Supporting Canadian businesses now feels good, and that feeling may outlast any currency swing. The future of cross-border shopping will likely be more selective and intentional. U.S. retailers must adapt, offering unique experiences or products to lure Canadians back. The relationship between the two countries endures, but the dynamic has shifted. A new balance is emerging, shaped by this powerful, consumer-led movement.